first came across that Cash Me Outside, How About That meme video on Facebook, I think it was back in 2016. I thought it was one of those, media moments that usually occur on reality TV shows where they feature some rebellious people acting tough or confrontational in front of a live audience. So it was nothing more than that. For me, at that time, my interest in memes was peaking. This actually goes back to the time when I first started my post at the University of Reading. So I was really getting more interested in memes as an academic subject area after seeing and sharing different kinds of humorous memes myself on social media platforms prior to that. So soon after this particular video went viral in 2016, I came across several other remix videos, image macros, or parodies about this particular media moment. And I was kind of myself trying to understand what it was about this particular moment that people found so interesting, and they were generating all this online content. So sharing my first insights about what might be causing distraction about the video with my colleague, Camila Vasquez, with whom I actually ended up writing this paper, which was published in the Journal of Sociolinguistics. At the time, I didn't quite know what I was embarking on, but it was actually a scientific and systematic inquiry about memes, something that I was only casually engaged in during my own social media encounters. So in the study, we found several comments about the girl whose name is Danielle Bragoli and her performance on the Dr. Phil episode. And these comments were generally related to her language use, particularly where she was from, her education level, social status, gender, and even sexuality. In our study, we found that thanks to the participatory and creative affordances of new media, people actually make more comments about language ideologies that are kind of implicit or hidden, and we may not hear about those ideologies in other contexts. For instance, in the live studio context, I mean, people were watching this girl, but they couldn't really say anything about her because the affordance of that context was limited and it didn't give them that opportunity. But in online environments, people find it easier to make comments about these kinds of issues, language-related issues. It can be even political, but in the study of that we did, it was particularly about language. We also found that it's not really always about what people say in the media, but how they say that captures people's attention. So we found in our study that some marginalized language varieties can actually index social variables such as race, social class, and even education level. And these can be very playfully recontextualized with humorous intents and meanings and can be circulated online to wider audiences. Part of the issue with the way this particular girl was using language was because it was kind of ambiguous. So people were trying to understand what kind of variety she was using or where she might be from, and also the kind of confusion that people had with her racial appearance versus the kind of variety that she was appropriating or kind of adopting in the show. So when it comes to that particular variety, people were really trying to understand whether she was from a southern state or whether she was appropriating an African-American vernacular variety. So when they were making these judgments, of course, they're also revealing what kinds of values, stances they associate with these kinds of varieties. For instance, there were several connections between these southern varieties. Some people were saying she might be from Texas or Louisiana or some other southern states, and how her education level was so low and the kind of language that she was using was kind of being associated with that region or area. So there were several connections like that between these different social variables. And of course, there are some racialized language identities that are associated with these marginalized varieties as well. For instance, Some people who we believe, the commenters, who are authentic users of AAVE, for instance, they were taking issues with her use of this variety as a white person, and how this is just, taking advantage of a sociolinguistic variety to become popular online, and they were taking issue with that. So what we saw in the end was this really heated discussion in an online environment where language ideologies kind of reveal these very heated discussions because of the way people feel about these varieties and how they're um, kind of perceived by other people, and how they index, as I said, some social variables such as race, education, even class.